To quote the great Batista, give me what I want. Hey, what's going on, guys? Kevin Zwicker from Fast Count coming at you. Before I get into this video, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Guys, we are less than 100 subs away from 2,000. So if you could hit that subscribe button, it'd be much appreciated. But for the second week in a row, we have had a tease between two of the biggest homegrown AEW stars on the entire roster, and that is none other than MJF and Hangman Adam Page. Now, this all starts where we are backstage and we see Renee Paquette standing right in front of Stroyer Strickland's locker room. And she's basically there to try to get, a follow-up question from Stroyer to talk about what went down earlier tonight, where we saw the storyline progress more between Ricochet and Swerve. But before she could really even say any words, we have Hangman Adam Page burst through Swerve Strickland's locker room, and he tells her he's not there. He's walking, power walking, and you see Renee behind him, trying to basically ask him like, "Yo, what's up?" All these questions, and she asks him about, Christopher Daniels, and he's like, that's not really none of your business. And he bumps shoulders with MJF, and we see a face-off between the two. And Hangman just walks off, and you see MJF, having this face, basically saying things like, if Hangman, was me, I'd get, all hell would be broken loose on me. People are hypocrites. Hangman can do whatever, and people love him. And you could really start to see the tension start to brew between the two guys. Now, you remember last week we saw after MJF had his interaction with Jeff Jarrett, when Hangman's music hit, we saw them stare at each other for a little bit. So the seeds are starting to plant between these two guys, and I'm all for it. Hangman Page just got out of this feud with Christopher Daniels, and all respect to Christopher Daniels, but Christopher Daniels wrestling in 2025 really does nothing for me and really doesn't progress the product any further. Now, MJF, he's in this feud with Jeff Jarrett, and you saw tonight that he laid Jeff Jarrett out with the mic. And like I've said in previous videos, this does nothing for me either, because I respect Jeff Jarrett, everything that he's accomplished in the wrestling business. He is a multi-time Hall of Famer in multiple different classes. But guys, let's be real. MJF shouldn't be wasting his time on Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett should not be taking up this much TV time in 2025 for any wrestling company, right? So the fact that we're suddenly getting these teases between two guys who are on polar opposites of the spectrum, in my opinion. Hangman is the most interesting character in all of wrestling to me. Him and Drew McIntyre, they are 1A, 1B in that category for me. And he's a guy who's really getting a lot of momentum, a lot of big crowd reaction. His match against Swerve Strickland at All In, that steel cage match, was brutal. It was disturbing, but it was great. Glorious, all right? And MJF, no matter how talented the guy is, and that's something that I feel like everybody can admit, he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Doesn't matter what promotion, but he's kind of cold at the moment. It feels like his promos are getting very repetitive. He is being accused last week of looking like he was just zoning out and phoning it in, because of this feud with Jeff Jarrett. If we as fans could look at this and say this is meaningless, how do you think the performers actually feel? Now, this is probably a thrill for Jeff Jarrett, but we all can kind of know that in the back of MJF's mind, this is kind of a waste of time. Now, Revolution is right around the corner. It is in the early part of March. So if we're going to get this match between these two guys, I feel like that's the perfect stage for it to take place. Revolution has kind of been a big-time signature event for AEW. If I had to compare it to a WWE PLE or pay-per-view, I'd probably say this is their version of the Royal Rumble or maybe SummerSlam, because there's been a lot of historic events that have taken place at Revolution. Obviously, Sting's last match last year, you had the dog collar match between CM Punk and MJF. You had the lights out match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. I believe it took place at that event, or Full Gear. Could be wrong. People will fact check me. But there's been a lot of big time matches that have taken place at Revolution. So that's the perfect spot. I'm excited. I feel like a feud with Hangman Page is kind of be the burst in the arm for MJF to really have to step his game up and to really add more layers to the character. I like the fact that we got subtle motivations for MJF in this little face-to-face between the two, saying that, people love Hangman for doing all this kind of diabolical stuff, but people give him a whole bunch of shit for it. I like that. I like the fact that we're getting motivations. Now, people say all the time that AEW doesn't tell stories, which I feel like that's something that people who don't watch the product on a regular, that's their excuse. The fact of the matter is this: they tell stories, not a lot of good ones, but they tell stories, And I might be even too harsh when I say not a lot of good ones, because you could really look back in the history of AEW, and there's some really compelling shit. But there's just sometimes, and not even sometimes, a lot of times, their stories are kind of very surface level. There's not a lot of layers involved. And for MJF and Hangman Page, two guys who are very creative, very great on the mic, and great in the ring, for them to be really able to do something together and really sink their teeth in should be something that all of us should be excited about. And I feel like it's something that could really, impact the product on a high level and put a lot of energy, positive energy in AEW's direction. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Are you excited about a potential MJF versus Hangman Adam Page match? Is it something you look forward to? Is it something you don't want? Is it something you don't even care about? Let me know in the comment section. Guys, remember to like the video. It helps a lot. And please remember to subscribe. Like I said earlier, we are less than 100 subs away from 2,000. So if you could hit that sub button, it'd be much appreciated. I am Kevin Zwicker. I'm out.